What's up, people? It's your boy Aaron Cantu, West Coast correspondent for the Boxing Voice, once again breaking down a potential fight that everybody in the sport wants to see. That is Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. We haven't seen an undisputed heavyweight champion since 1999. Lennox Lewis was the last one to do it. So why is this fight not made by now? Understand, we know the frustration of the fans. We know the frustration of the people that want to see the fight. But the fans got to take a step back and understand that there's a lot that goes into this, a lot involved. And at some point, the fight will be made. It's funny because, I'm an American. I'm from Los Angeles. I'm from California. I'm a fan of Deontay Wilder's. But I recognize the skills and the power and just the ability that Anthony Joshua presents. So I think there's a common misconception out there amongst people who are pro AJ that, the Wilder people or the people on this side of the pond don't recognize the greatness that is Anthony Joshua. We understand Joshua is a great champion. The way he beat Klitschko, the way he's defended his belt, he needs to be commended. I mean, nobody on this side of the pond is saying that Anthony Joshua is a bum, which kind of makes it a little bit disrespectful that a lot of people on that side of the pond are saying that Deontay Wilder is a bum. But at the end of the day, who was the one that turned down the $50 million? We all know there's a lot involved. We all know the promotional side. We all know TV rights, where the fight's going to be, the gate. All that stuff comes into play. But at the end of the day, the one person between the two that's been calling for this fight and really wants this fight adamantly is Deontay Wilder. Now, people understand where I'm coming from because we understand the greatness of AJ. I think there needs to be a little bit more respect given to Deontay Wilder. Why? Because he's been a champion longer than AJ has, and he's defended his belt 8 times. That's 2 more times than Joshua's been a champion. And people are quick to discredit Deontay's opposition, but at the end of the day, he has seen a variety of different styles throughout his career. And he's been through the mud. He's been through the tough times. And that's why this fight is so intriguing. Let's first talk about Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is the elite prototype that any fight fan or any trainer, anybody who has relevance or knows the game of boxing wants their fighter to be. That guy who knows how to fight smart off the back foot, knows how to keep the distance, knows how to use his power to his advantage. That is Anthony Joshua. He does everything correctly, technically. People who want to bash Anthony Joshua for being too methodical, I feel like that's kind of a weak argument when it comes to trying to make a case for Deontay Wilder beating him. He won an Olympic gold medal. He won a championship against Charles Martin, then defended his belt multiple times before eventually winning an epic fight against a veteran Hall of Fame fighter in Vladimir Klitschko. I don't like when people discredit that win because Vladimir Klitschko came to fight that night and is a legend. Anybody who takes out a legend needs to be commended. So I just hate when people are quick to bash fights that really meant something and they just try to bring it down so that it seems like there's a level playing field. No, you don't have to do that. Praise that fighter for what he did in his career, and then talk about what this other fighter can present and give issues to that guy. So, we know Deontay Wilder had a dogfight against Luis Ortiz. So people are trying to, bash him for winning that fight or for being hurt in that fight. Need to calm down because he showed a lot of persistence and will in that fight. And he showed something that even an American can admit we hadn't seen in Deontay Wilder. We hadn't seen him really hurt, backed up to a point where he was about to be out, man. It was about to be over. Deontay Wilder has an awkward, wild style. He has a lot of flaws. Maybe people are so fixated with the fact that his style is so awkward and so unorthodox and so untechnical, I guess you could say, that alone makes people think that he needs to be in a bracket of bum. I mean, dude, he's 40-0 with 39 KOs. Any other fighter in any other division with that record, I guarantee you, would be in the pound-for-pound discussion. Yet you don't hear Deontay Wilder in the pound-for-pound discussion. 40-0 with 39 KOs is ridiculous. I mean, he's defended his belt 8 times. He's got the WBC, which is arguably the most prestigious belt in the game. So anybody trying to question his credibility as a champion, they obviously have no place in talking about this fight. I've spoken to everybody in the sport about this fight. I've spoken to Jim Gray. I've spoken to Don King. I've spoken to Bernard Hopkins. I've spoken to, so many promoters, so many fighters. I mean, anybody in the sport, you name them. I've really spoken to them about this fight. It is a consistent narrative about this fight. Anthony Joshua is the more technical fighter who knows how to box a little bit more consistently. And let's be honest, he's more of a groomed boxer than Deontay Wilder. But the reason why this fight is so intriguing, every single person I've spoken to, with the exception of a couple, right? Because a couple really believe AJ is just too skilled, just well above what Deontay could present. But every other person I've spoken to about the fight, they always bring up the fact that Wilder is such a wild card with his power, man. His power alone makes it a 50-50 fight. Can you understand that? His power alone makes it a 50-50 fight. So if Deontay Wilder has a correct camp where he works on a couple of nuances that may give him an advantage against AJ in that fight, I mean, dude, he's more than a game fighter against AJ. Look, we've seen the whole negotiation saga. We've seen what's been going on. And the fact of the matter is, Eddie Hearn doesn't want to put his prize fighter, his prize possession, AJ, in the ring with Deontay Wilder right now. We've seen Eddie Hearn. We've seen the BS he's been spewing. I mean, call me biased, but at the end of the day, why are the best not fighting the best? Why is the other best not calling out the other best? Nobody brings that up, okay? AJ needs to fight Deontay Wilder, and that's it. Whether AJ wants to fight or not, the fight still hasn't been made. Something that I really believe in is like, okay, AJ, you're a champion, but at some point, the promoter has a lot of power. We understand that. He's very vital to a fighter's career. But if you are adamant about being that undisputed, recognized around the world, heavyweight champion of the world, you should be able to supersede what your promoter wants or what your promoter says. The negotiation saga that we've seen, it may translate to what might happen in the ring. So, last thing I'll say, Deontay Wilder's awkward style and power is something that AJ has never seen before. AJ's technique, his ring IQ and calmness, probably something Deontay's never seen either. A lot of people think that this fight ends in knockout, but I see this fight being very tentative early. I think both Deontay and AJ are going to fill each other out at least for the first 3-4 rounds. And I see something happening between rounds 5 and 8. I feel like that little time frame of the fight, we're going to find out who's going to win. Because once the jitters get out, once that early portion of the fight is over with, we're going to see who's really about it. And there's so many ways this fight can happen. What if Deontay, has to find a way to create offense against Joshua, who's going to fight off the back foot, very cautious and box? Then that's going to present issues for Deontay. But then again, you look at the flip side of it. What if AJ is too tentative, too patient, waiting too long, that he's got to, prove himself in the ring? I think that presents issues for him because Deontay has the length advantage. He's obviously got the power advantage to a slight extent. I mean, we really just don't know. That's why this fight needs to happen. And Eddie Hearn, respect to him. He's obviously in the position for a reason. He's a promoter for a reason. He's done well, with his own career. But if he really wants to, do good for the sport, he needs to take a step back and make this fight happen and stop being an obstacle to why this fight isn't happening. And that's just my take. I want to see how both fighters react to each other, in a press conference or, face to face. I think that'll be telling. But then again, we'll never know until these guys step in the ring. And that's why this fight needs to happen. I mean, I feel personally that we're living in a time in history that can never be, regenerated. It can never happen again. I mean, like, Deontay Wilder is such a unique fighter, and he stands for so much that Americans, it's a shame that he hasn't got enough promotion, enough pub, enough shine for, who he is as a person, what he went through just to get to this point. And AJ needs to make a name for himself on the, on the state side. A lot of people still don't know who he is on this side of the pond. Let's be real. For the hardcore fans, we know the magnitude of this fight, and if AJ, Eddie Hearn, Deontay, whoever's involved in making this fight, hear this video, please make the fight happen for the people. Please make the fight happen for the fans. Please make the fight happen for the good of the sport.
Ain't no other sight in the game, 'cause see the boxing boys.